You open your eyes. Again, it's 3:00 a.m., not 2:58, not 3:12, 3 o'clock. Exactly. It happens often enough that it no longer feels random. Night after night, your body stirs as if something deep inside you needs your attention. A whisper, an unspoken call. You lie there, still. The world around you is silent, asleep. But within you, something is wide awake. Your mind begins to wander to your past, your choices, your future, to everything that feels unfinished. And you ask the question, why does this keep happening? More importantly, what does it mean? This isn't just a strange habit or a biological fluke. Waking up at 3 a.m. is more than a sleep disruption. It's a signal from your body, from your mind, and maybe even from something deeper. Because sleep is not just about rest. It's about regulation. It's about keeping a delicate balance between order and chaos, between peace and anxiety, between health and disease. Especially as we grow older, our sleep patterns begin to change dramatically. And for many people over 60, this shift leads to a common, often unexplained phenomenon. Waking up in the early hours of the morning, sometimes without being able to fall back asleep. So, today, we're going to explore what's really happening inside your body at 3 a.m. and what you can do to restore the peace you deserve. And if you're new here, welcome to Senior Fit, where we share life-changing health stories and practical tips to help you live stronger, feel better, and age with purpose. If you find this topic meaningful, don't forget to subscribe. You might just discover what your body has been trying to tell you all along. Let's begin with the science, because the more we understand the biology behind this pattern, the more empowered we become to break it. As we age, our sleep changes, not just in quantity, but in structure. The first major shift is in melatonin, the hormone that signals our body to sleep. In our younger years, melatonin levels rise in the evening, remain high throughout the night, and then fall as morning approaches. But as we age, melatonin production declines, and this decline disrupts the quality of our sleep, making it harder to fall and stay asleep. This hormonal drop is one of the key reasons older adults spend more time in lighter stages of sleep, which are easier to interrupt. A small sound, a change in room temperature, or even a subtle internal sensation can pull us out of rest. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. We also lose deep sleep, the slow wave stage that helps our bodies recover, heal, and store memories. Without enough of it, our physical and cognitive systems become less resilient. We wake up groggier, more forgetful, and more fatigued, even after a full night in bed. And then there's cortisol, our stress hormone. Cortisol follows a daily rhythm, rising in the early morning to help prepare our bodies to wake up. In younger individuals, this rise happens just before dawn. But in older adults, the pattern shifts. Cortisol may begin to spike earlier than it should, sometimes right at 3 o'clock a.m., sending a false wake-up call to the brain. You might not be stressed when you go to bed, but your body, especially with age, begins reacting differently. Hormones become more sensitive. The sleep cycle becomes more fragile. And so you wake, not because of what you did wrong, but because your biology is changing. It's not your fault, but it is your opportunity to understand, adapt, and reclaim your nights. If you've ever wondered why your sleep habits aren't what they used to be, you're not imagining things. One of the most profound changes in aging is the shift in our circadian rhythm, our body's internal clock that regulates when we feel sleepy, when we wake up, and how deeply we rest. In your younger years, this rhythm tends to align naturally with a traditional sleep schedule. You feel tired in the evening, sleep through the night, and wake up feeling refreshed in the morning. But as we age, this clock begins to shift forward, a phenomenon known as advanced sleep phase syndrome. What does that mean? It means you start to feel sleepy earlier in the evening. You may find yourself dozing off before the nightly news ends. And it also means waking up earlier, sometimes much earlier than you intend to. And yes, this is one of the reasons why so many older adults find themselves staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wide awake, before the rest of the world even stirs. But why does this shift happen? One reason is that your brain becomes less sensitive to the environmental cues that once kept your sleep cycle in harmony. Light exposure, which plays a key role in regulating melatonin, becomes less effective as your eyes and brain age. In other words, your body stops syncing as efficiently with the sun. This can throw your entire rhythm off balance, making you tired too early, waking you up before you're ready, and leaving you restless in the middle of the night. There's also a change in body temperature regulation. Under normal conditions, your body cools slightly at night to help initiate and maintain sleep, then gradually warms in the morning to promote waking. But in older adults, these fluctuations become blunted or shift in timing. Your body may begin its warming phase too early, triggering an early wake-up before you've had enough rest. Then there are the hormonal factors. We already discussed the decline in melatonin. But there's also an earlier release of melatonin in the evening for many older adults. You might feel sleepy at 8 p.m., fall asleep quickly, but by 3 a.m., your sleep cycle is already nearing completion. That's because your body has started and ended the cycle too early. This is why you might fall asleep easily, but wake up before sunrise, feeling like the night was cut short, because for your internal clock, it was. And what about cortisol, the stress hormone? In people over 60, the rise of cortisol in the early morning can begin earlier than expected. While cortisol is meant to gently bring your body into a wakeful state around sunrise, that early spike can trigger alertness before you're truly ready, pulling you out of light sleep around 3 a.m. What does this all mean? It means that your body isn't broken, it's adapting. Your sleep cycle is changing, just like your eyesight, your digestion, and your skin. It's not a failure, it's biology. And the more you understand it, the better you can work with it, not against it. You're not waking up because something's wrong with you. You're waking up because your body is following a new rhythm. But that rhythm can be supported and adjusted naturally. It's 3 o'clock a.m. again. You're awake, not just physically, but mentally. And this time, it's not just your body that's stirred. It's your thoughts, your memories, your fears. There's something different about this hour, something raw. When the world is silent and there are no conversations to distract you, no television hum, no to-do list pushing you forward, the mind turns inward, and what it finds there can be heavy. This is more common than most people realize. Many older adults who wake in the early hours report a surge of anxious thinking, emotional reflection, or a strange sense of unease. It's as if, in the darkness, the brain takes the opportunity to sort through unresolved files, pulling up regrets, old wounds, or unanswered questions. Why now? Because during the day, we have structure, noise, social interaction, responsibilities. These things keep our emotional clutter at bay. But at night, especially in the stillness of 3 a.m., those defenses fall away. There are no buffers, just you and your mind. This is what some psychologists call nighttime cognition, a vulnerable state where the mind revisits unresolved emotions, amplifies anxieties, and heightens reflection. And the older we get, the more reflective we often become. You may find yourself thinking about the past, decisions you made, people you've lost, paths you didn't take. Or you may worry about the future, your health, your independence, your family. And in this state, everything feels more intense, more real. But this is not weakness. It's being human. In fact, one of the biological reasons this happens is tied again to cortisol. Around 3 a.m., cortisol begins to rise in preparation for the day ahead. If your emotional system is already sensitized by stress or unresolved conflict, this early surge in cortisol can spark restlessness, unease, or even a feeling of dread, despite there being no real threat. In this way, your 3 a.m. awakening becomes not just physical, but deeply psychological. And what makes it more difficult is that there's no one to talk to at that hour, no one to ground you, no task to distract you, just the echo of your own thoughts in a quiet room. But here's what's important to remember. This awakening, this psychological moment, isn't always a curse. Sometimes it's a call to examine what's unresolved, a call to process what has been sitting just beneath the surface, a call to finally listen to yourself. What if your 3 a.m. wake up isn't a problem, but an invitation? If you've ever sat awake at 3 a.m. with your mind racing, know this: you're not alone. Millions of older adults experience the same quiet crisis. And while it can feel isolating, frustrating, even frightening at times, it doesn't have to be. The truth is, your mind is not trying to sabotage you. It's trying to speak to you. And with the right tools, you can not only return to sleep, but awaken with greater clarity, calm, and emotional strength. So how do we begin? The first step is to shift the mindset. Most people who wake up at 3 a.m. immediately fight it. I need to sleep. Why is this happening? This is ruining my health. These thoughts, though understandable, create tension, which makes it even harder to fall back asleep. Instead of resisting the wakefulness, try this. 1. Accept the moment. Tell yourself, I'm awake right now, and that's okay. This single shift, acceptance, takes you out of fight mode. It helps calm the nervous system and reduces the pressure to fall asleep. Ironically, it's often this release of pressure that allows sleep to return. 2. Journal your thoughts. Keep a notepad or journal by your bed. If your mind is swirling with thoughts, write them down. Don't filter, don't judge. Just empty your mind onto the page. This practice externalizes the internal noise. What feels overwhelming in your head often becomes manageable once written. Many people find that simply acknowledging a thought, like, I'm worried about my next doctor's visit, lessens its grip. 3. Practice gentle breathing or meditation. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale slowly for 6. Repeat. This simple breathing pattern activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for rest and digestion. It lowers cortisol. It slows the heart rate. It tells your body you're safe. If you're comfortable, you can also try a guided meditation, soft music, or a calm voice guiding you back to the present moment. Apps or YouTube channels can be helpful resources. 4. Create a peaceful sleep environment. Let's not forget the importance of your bedroom. Is the temperature cool and comfortable? Are the lights off? Or is there a glow from your clock or electronics? Even small sources of light can signal to your brain that it's time to be alert. Make your sleep space sacred, dark, quiet, and free from distractions. If needed, use blackout curtains, white noise machines, or an eye mask. 5. Reduce late-night stimulants and disruptors. Many 3 a.m. awakenings are worsened by what happens hours earlier. Caffeine, even in the afternoon, can linger in your system. So can sugar. Alcohol, though it might make you sleepy at first, disrupts deep sleep and causes early waking. Heavy meals at night force your digestive system to stay active, increasing the chance of poor sleep quality. Try eating your last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bed and keep it light. 6. Establish a consistent sleep routine. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Your body's internal clock loves consistency. A stable rhythm reinforces healthy melatonin production and helps reduce nighttime disruptions. Your routine should include a calming ritual, dimming the lights, reading, stretching gently, or listening to soft music. These cues train your brain to recognize when it's time to wind down. 7. Limit screen time before bed. The blue light from phones, tablets, and TVs suppresses melatonin. Try turning off screens at least an hour before bed, or use blue light filters if you must use devices. Instead, engage in analog activities, journaling, listening to audiobooks, or sitting in quiet reflection. You don't have to fight your way back to sleep. You can breathe your way there with grace, patience, and presence. Finally, understand this: waking at 3 a.m. doesn't mean your body is broken. It means your body and mind are looking for balance. And in that moment of stillness, you have a choice: to be overwhelmed or to listen. What if waking up at 3 a.m. wasn't a problem to fix, but a message to hear? In the quiet darkness of those early hours, your mind isn't just restless, it's reaching for understanding, for release, for meaning. And if you lean into that moment with openness instead of resistance, you may find that it offers something unexpected: clarity. Throughout history, some of the world's greatest thinkers, writers, and artists have spoken of the early morning hours as a time of inspiration, a moment when distractions fade and intuition speaks louder than ever. Why? Because at 3 a.m., the mind is in a unique state, part dream, part waking. The conscious mind is still soft. The inner critic is quiet. And that gives the subconscious, the part of you that holds deeper truths, a rare window to emerge. 1. Embrace the stillness. Before reaching for your phone or pacing the floor, pause. Allow yourself to sit in the silence. There is no other time quite like this, when the world is asleep and you are alone with your thoughts. Instead of rushing to fix the sleeplessness, ask yourself, what is my mind trying to show me right now? You might be surprised by what surfaces. 2. Reflect without judgment. At 3 a.m., emotions can feel larger than life. Worries seem heavier. Regrets echo louder. But this isn't because things are worse. It's because there are no distractions to hide behind. Rather than fearing these thoughts, treat them as messages. If something is rising to the surface now, it's likely because it hasn't been fully acknowledged during the day. Write it down, speak it out loud, or simply let yourself feel it. You may discover that what once felt like anxiety is actually grief. That what felt like fear is really uncertainty. And that by facing these emotions gently, they begin to loosen their grip. 3. Use the time creatively. If you can't return to sleep, consider doing something gentle and creative. Write, read something meaningful, sketch, listen to calming music, or even record a voice memo of your thoughts. These early hours often hold seeds of insight, ideas that may not come during the busyness of the day. You might find that something you've been wrestling with suddenly becomes clear, or that a solution reveals itself, not with force, but with stillness. 4. Practice self-compassion. Waking up in the middle of the night can feel defeating, especially when you're trying to get rest. But don't turn that moment into a battle. Instead, offer yourself kindness. Say to yourself, it's okay. My body is doing what it needs. I am listening. This simple act of compassion eases the nervous system and can, in itself, create the safety needed for rest to return. 5. Reframe the experience. What if you stopped seeing this hour as a burden and started seeing it as a teacher? At 3 a.m., you're not performing. You're not wearing masks. You're not playing roles. You're just you, raw, unguarded, present. And in that space, something sacred becomes possible. You can examine your life with honesty. You can process what's been buried. You can choose how you want to move forward. The stillness of 3 a.m. is not empty. It's full of you, your truth, your longing, your wisdom. 6. Build a gentle return to sleep. After your thoughts are expressed and your body is calm, don't force sleep. Invite it. Lie down again. Focus on your breath. Feel your body sink into the mattress. Visualize a place that feels safe and peaceful, like a quiet beach, a childhood memory, or a warm cabin in the woods. With your mind quieter and your heart less heavy, sleep may return naturally. If it doesn't, trust that rest is still occurring. Your body, even when not fully asleep, is still healing. Final message: waking at 3 a.m. is more than biology. It's more than aging. It's an opportunity, a moment of communion between body, mind, and soul. If you've been struggling with these awakenings, know this: you are not broken. You are being invited. Invited to listen more deeply, to reflect more honestly, and perhaps to grow more gently. And in those moments of silence, if you choose to see them not as interruptions, but as insight, You just might rediscover something you forgot you were looking for. Thank you for spending this time with us. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who wakes up in the night and feels alone. They may need it more than you know. And don't forget to subscribe to Senior Fit, where we continue to explore not just how to live longer, but how to live more meaningfully at every stage of life. Because even in the quietest hour, you are not alone, and your story is still unfolding.